Motion carried. Okay. At this time, we're gonna ask S&T Labs to do a quick presentation.
That's fine, thank you. Good evening, everyone. My name is Faiza, and I have my coworker here with me. His name is Sohail. We're here on behalf of S&T Labs. I'm going to take a few moments of your time to quickly talk about the importance of testing for COVID-19, influenza A and B, and RSV today. The folder that was passed on has some news articles and also some data from IDPH and CDC on the current trends going on with the cases in Illinois specifically. So to begin with, after the end of pandemic, most of us think that we are safe from COVID-19 and it's not a part of our lives anymore, but unfortunately that's not the truth. COVID-19 is still here and is going to be here for quite some time. As you know, there are a lot of variants since the beginning of the pandemic in 2019. This virus has been constantly mutating and having new variants, and the symptoms are typically the same. Most of the symptoms are same as, you know, the runny nose, cough, cold, fatigue, fever, and all of those things. Now, the intensity of the infection on an individual, it varies on a lot of factors, like the immune system, the age of the patient, and the variant that infected the person. Now, since school has started, there has been a surge in cases for COVID-19, influenza A and B, and RSV altogether. As per CDC, in the past month, there has been a 10% increase in RSV hospitalization across the US, a significant increase in COVID-19 cases all across the US. Most of them have been infected by the new variant, that's XEC, and there has been an increase in RSV as well. Now, another thing to note here is many people that are sick because with COVID-19 either don't take a test anymore or they don't report the test results to any medical authorities. This will affect the number of cases that are reported on a daily basis. That means that the data that we are getting is not 100%, I wouldn't say accurate, but not 100% correct numbers. So we can't really say what the actual spike in the cases is because of COVID or flu or RSV, because not everyone reports their results to any medical authorities. Now, also because of fall and winter months coming, there is going to be an increase in all flu, RSV, and COVID-19 cases. There was a significant increase last year, and there is going to be a similar pattern this year as per CDC. So what can we do best to protect ourselves, our community, our loved ones? What we can do is we can opt for regular testing. This way, whoever has any symptoms or whoever tests positive, we can isolate them, and especially in workplaces and schools and nursing homes, it's very important to have regular testing to protect ourselves from more, protect ourselves and our loved ones from infection. There will be no cost to the school district for any testing. So, that's all I have to say today.
Okay.
Thank you for sharing your information.
Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. We have a package with plenty of information that we can look over and we will be getting back in contact. Our superintendent will contact you all moving forward.
That's perfect.
Thank you for
so
your
much.
presentation.
Thank you.
And next, we will have, I'm gonna turn it over to Ms. Nichols, and she can take us forward.
All right, good evening, everyone. This evening, we have Nick with us from Baker Tilly. Baker Tilly is representing the district as our new auditors. As you all know, last year, the district utilized Prosperic, and the board voted to change our auditors to Baker Tilly, and I know you guys have not had an opportunity to meet Nick yet. I've been working with Nick as well as all of the staff members in the business office since last year, and so we wanted him to come to this, the meeting this evening to share with you guys the results from the FY23 audit. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it over to Nick. And you all should have, each one of you in your folders, you should have a copy of all of the audit results, and he will go through each one of those documents and kind of explain to you what each one will be.
Well, good evening, everyone. Thank you for having me here tonight. You should all have a copy of the financial statements in your packet. It's a spiral bound book, and it has this kind of like a teal colored cover on there. This is the district's financial statements. The scope of a financial statement audit is fairly robust. We perform an audit over your financial statements. The district expends over $750,000 of federal awards, and as a result of that, you're required to have what they call a single audit performed, which is a federal compliance audit with the use of grant dollars for the programs that were audited as what they call major programs. And at the same time, we are required to test internal controls that were in place to ensure compliance. So we render opinions on your financial statements, we render an opinion on compliance with the use of federal award dollars, and then we'll report any internal control matters that may have been identified. We also conduct the audit in accordance with governmental auditing standards. And as a result of that, we'll gain an understanding of the internal controls that are present to prepare the financial statements themselves. So we'll look at your accounts payable process, your payroll process, your month-end close process, your treasury function. We gain an understanding of all those controls for the purposes of designing our audit procedures, so that when we perform our audit and we render an opinion on your financial statements, that we do so appropriately under all of the auditing standards that are in place. So the district had a different auditing firm last year. At the end of their audit, the fiscal year 22, so now we're in fiscal year 25 right now. 24's audit will commence shortly, but the fiscal year 22 audit, that auditor did not render an opinion on your financial statements due to some issues at the Township School Treasurer's Office regarding the treasury function. Your school district is required to participate in Thornton Township School Treasurer's Office under the current laws that are in place. That particular office has not had the ability to reconcile their books and records to render assurances to the third parties that are auditing your financial statements that the value of the cash and investments, the pool over there, reconciles back to your individual school district as well as everyone else. So when I became your auditor, I started off with the fact that the 22 audit did not have an opinion on your financial statements for the most part. Okay? So we started off with the audit. We looked at the type of audit report that was rendered on the Township School Treasurer's Office for 6/30/22. That audit did not provide assurances on the cash and investment balances as well. So the starting point of which I came into, I did not have assurances on that they were appropriated by a third party. Then we come into fiscal year 23, and the same results exist at the end of 6/30/23. So we were not able to get assurances over your cash and investment balances that are maintained at the Township Schools Treasurer's Office. As of today, it's my understanding that their audited financial statements have still not been issued, but they're still working through various procedures to get, I guess, essentially a handle on the bank reconciliation process. It's important for you to all know that this is really outside of the day-to-day operational control of the school district's finance department. You don't have the bank accounts in your possession to see the activity that's running through there. Those are all in the custody of the Township School Treasurer's Office. So my audit procedures had limitations to them. I was not able to do everything that I would like to have done to give you an opinion on your financial statements. Under the auditing standard, that's what they call a disclaimer of an opinion. It's because I had scope limitations and I wasn't able to perform a certain procedure, and as a result of that, I couldn't determine if something was right or wrong. I just have to essentially say that I can't give you an opinion on your financial statements, okay? There were errors that were identified during the scope of my audit. I conducted your audit exactly the same way that I would have conducted any other audit, with the exception of accessing the cash records, okay? And there were issues with the adjustments with property tax revenues. The tax split wasn't done according to how the levy was finalized. So when we came in, we noticed when we redid the calculations that certain dollars were allocated to funds incorrectly. And we actually identified proposed adjusting journal entries, talked with Ms. Nichols, and essentially everybody agreed that there were adjustments that were necessary. How some of the grant dollars were being recorded by the funds. So you have multiple funds that you report in your financial statements, and when you submit for a grant expenditure report, some of those expenditures are in a different fund. When you receive the revenue, you have to code them in the same manner where the fund had the expenditures. When we performed our audit procedures, we had some reclassification adjustments that were identified. Communicated those to the administration. Those adjustments have been made. The audit adjustments that we could get certainty on, based on my procedures and the access to the records that I had, were all recorded in the financial statements, and essentially, management approved. We worked with the treasurer more recently than not to get those adjustments recorded into fiscal year 24's accounting records, okay? There were certain adjustments that I could not get clarity on. One of the things that we identified during the course of the audit is the district maintains what they call payroll liability accounts. Imagine a payroll liability account being that you're paid and there's money that's withheld from your paycheck to be remitted to the state of Illinois, to the IRS for federal tax withholdings. Money that's withheld from you for insurance purposes that's later to be remitted for the cost of insurance as an employee. At the same time, there's a cost that the board incurs for providing insurance to the employee. Those expenses are allocated in the software system and then essentially wait in a conduit account called a payroll liability account until you actually cut the check to pay for that expense for insurance. Series of payroll liability accounts, when we came in to perform the audit, had debit balances of north of $1 million. A payroll liability account, when operating properly, has a zero balance. Money is withheld, money is paid, it's essentially balancing. When you come in and you see a payroll liability account that has a debit balance of that magnitude, it could be indicative that something was paid in excess of withholdings, something outside your expectation for what that activity would be. We noticed that there were a series of transactions that were posted right at the end of the fiscal year. Several transactions, about $300,000 each. My understanding was there were journal entries reported by the treasurer's office, and they had something to do with insurance. I could not validate those entries. I don't have access to the bank accounts to see if those journal entries were supported by actual payments. So those are things that we identify in our audit. So when we conduct our audit, we report various risks. There were risks with adjustments in the accounting records that we could detect. There were risks with the payroll liability accounts that we couldn't gain assurances over. And ultimately, we weren't able to conclude our audit procedures to give assurances over your financial statements because of bank reconciliation procedures not being performed at the Township School Treasurer's Office, okay? Single audit, moving forward, there were three major programs that were audited. The Education Stabilization Fund, or the ESSER program, this is pandemic aid. The Title I program was audited, in addition to the child nutrition program, so your school and your lunch program. All three of those programs were audited in accordance with uniform guidance. All three of those programs, we did not identify any compliance issues. We did not identify any internal control issues. So a clean audit over the grant. That's a lot. It's very complicated, okay? But I do want to show you a couple of pages in your booklet of your financial statements so that you have a general understanding of where the district's internal records show you stood at the end of fiscal year '23, okay? So if you can open up this spiral bound booklet to page 5 and page 6. This is the district's balance sheet for all your individual funds. Now, your general fund, for external reporting purposes, consists of a couple of different funds. It is the addition of 3 funds that you're used to managing internally: your educational accounts, your tort immunity accounts, and your working cash accounts. Okay? You take all those 3 funds, and those present your general fund for external reporting. Overwhelmingly, the balance in there is predominantly your ed fund. Your tort fund has about $2,000. Your working cash fund has about $2.4 million, but your ed fund has about $15.7 million. So for purposes of this discussion, just really kind of think of this as being your ed fund for the most part. Okay? You'll see that the cash and investments that are held in that fund that were presented was $17 million, first column. The second column, the second line below that is liabilities. Payroll deductions payable. You'll notice that that value is negative. So that is a debit balance in a liability account. Liability accounts usually have credit balances, so this is the opposite of it. It's about $1.1 million. So that's that account that I was talking to you about that did not appear to have activity that was consistent with expectations. Okay? Ultimately, at the end of the day, that debit liability actually creates an increase in your fund balance. Under the accounting equation, it presents about an $18.1 million fund balance. Okay? Your operations and maintenance fund ended the year with $4 million in fund balance. Transportation fund, $2.3 million. Municipal retirement fund, $1.6 million. Debt service fund, about $83,000. Super important for you to understand, your debt service fund is really kind of dormant now. You don't have any bonds outstanding. So your debt service fund's probably not going to have much activity. You can't use that money for anything outside of general obligation bonds. So really kind of imagine that being dormant. You might see some negative taxes posted there from time to time for refunds that can come through the county, but for all intents and purposes, that fund is dormant at this point. And then your capital projects fund has $4.8 million in it, okay? I'm going to have you turn page 2 times to the right. Be page 8 and page 9. This is your income statement. You'll see each fund presented the same way. At the top are the revenues, in the middle are your expenditures, and then about 3/4 of the way from the bottom, you'll see a category called Other Financing Sources and Uses. That category is used to account for transfers that the board has approved during the year. Okay? So really think of the revenues and the expenditures. Then you have a line that says excess deficiency of revenues over expenditures. That's kind of on an operational basis before you consider any transfers or any long-term debt financing activity which you had done during the year. So you can see that your general fund had a surplus of $4.3 million during the year before your transfer of $10 million that was placed over into your capital projects fund. The operations and maintenance fund had a surplus of $2.4 million. The transportation fund had a surplus of $200,000. Municipal retirement social security fund had a surplus of $518,000. Debt service fund had a nominal decrease of $12,800, and that related to some payments of some outstanding leases that took place during the year. And then the capital projects fund was spent down. Operationally, revenues versus expenditures, $6.4 million, but then after the transfer of $10 million came in, the fund had an increase of $3.6 million from the starting point of 1.2 or so at the beginning of the year. Collectively, all of your fund balances at the end of the year presented were $31 million for all your funds. There's a few things that stuck out to me when I looked at other areas. They weren't significantly material in many instances, but it was odd. If you look at the revenues, you see investment income. It's about 3 lines off the bottom of the total for revenues. You'll see that there are numbers entered in negative value. $16,000 negative investment income in the operations and maintenance fund. $2,400 negative investment income. $1,600 in the debt service fund. $64,000. Generally speaking, investment income is positive. Now, I don't necessarily know what cash position your individual funds hold all year, Sometimes if a fund goes negative, like no cash, because of timing with property taxes, the treasurer may allocate a negative investment allocation, but I'm not so sure that you had negative cash in your operations and maintenance fund during the year, when you had $4 million at the end of the year, even with the delay of taxes. It seems strange to me to see negative investment being allocated there. So these are some of the things that I've identified during my procedures and have talked with Ms. Nichols about, so that she can keep an eye on for fiscal year '24 and for future years as well. I would be more than happy to take any questions from the board at this time.
Any questions? Ms. Nesbitt?
Can you explain that the liabilities again? Because you said it should be zero, right?
In many instances, it's a zero. Many instances, it's zero. In some cases, it can be a credit balance, and that could be that you've withheld from people, but you have not yet paid. But a debit balance is generally indicative that the amount that you've paid to a third-party vendor was greater than the amount that you've withheld from your employees, plus the withholdings that you've estimated as the board paid expenses all year round. So, I can tell you, when I looked at the account activity, for several months, I looked at it from July all the way through June, it was kind of balancing. July was somewhat zero, August somewhat zero. It was never perfect, but each month it was starting to close out or shortly thereafter. And then in June, there were just a succession of journal entries, which is essentially an entry that you do in the financial accounting system that's not consistent with a check that you generated through your bills list. So these journal entries were recorded at the end of the year, and so ultimately they aggregated to be very close to that debit balance of $1 million. I know that there's a tremendous effort going on at the treasurer's office to try to figure all of this out.
Thank you.
Any other questions? No?
Well, thank you for having me here this evening.
All right, thank you.
Take care.
Okay, at this time, correspondence?
None.
Okay, President's report. I want to share that I was asked to be on a committee, which is called the Harvey Neighborhood Network. And I attended 2 meetings, and I was privileged to be a part of a group. It was 3 of us that was invited to sit with the steering committee. And they had a wealth of knowledge for us for what grants and everything that is afforded the city of Harvey. And it was a very good meeting that I attended. But what I found as I sat there and listened to each group that was there, they were more geared toward the high school. So I was really excited about being there because I had the opportunity to say, what about our elementary children? Okay, and with that being said, Restoration Ministries is a part of this. And she walked me around the building over there on 159th right there. And I was awed at everything that I saw. Everything was grand for our elementary. And she let me know that our children from homes mainly go there, and they have classrooms. And everything was geared toward the different levels. And they had the 4th and 5th grade class, the kindergarten 1 through 3 class, and they had everything for our elementary school there, but all the other groups that were talking about the money and the funds that was available, they were all geared toward Thornton Township, the high school. So with me attending that, a couple of the people, and I don't have all their names before me, said that they would look more toward doing more for elementary. So I just wanted to share that with you all, that I was glad that I was invited and I was able to sit before the steering committees and obtain knowledge. Okay, with that being said, we're gonna move toward the approval of the minutes for the special Board of Education meeting on September 23rd.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Rogers. Aye. Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins. Aye. Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Contreras.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye. Motion carried. At this time, we will turn it over to our business operations report from Ms. Nichols.
Good evening again, everyone.
Good evening.
The first item for business operations for the month of October is the accounts receivable. In your packet, you have a monthly report for September 2024 that breaks down the expenditures as well as the revenues. So for the month of September, the revenue amount collected was $2,037,723. The year-to-date total for revenue is $7,676,931. The expenditures for the month, $2,814,355. Year-to-date amount is $6,873,820, for a total surplus in the amount of $803,111. Administration recommends approval.
So moved.
Second. Call the roll.
Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Rogers. Aye. Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Contreras.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye. Motion carried.
There are two accounts payables list for October 2024. The grand total is $1,024,725.09. Administration recommends approval.
So moved.
Second. Call the roll.
Ms. Contreras.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Rogers. President Gardner.
Aye. Motion carried.
Payroll for September 2024, there were 3 payrolls. The grand total is $1,305,662.76. Administration recommends approval.
So moved.
Second. Call the roll.
Ms. Rogers. Aye. Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Contreras.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye. Motion carried.
This concludes the business operation report for the month of October 2024. Any questions?
With there being no questions, we're gonna move to the committee reports. Curriculum.
Yes, on October 2nd, Ms. Britton, myself, Ms. Payne, Dr. Davis, Ms. Delgado, as well as Ms. Cameron, we met. Dr. Davis joined the meeting because he did request to purchase a program for, to be able to track students' behavior as well as, so that he could develop and print out reports. At the elementary buildings, they have class dojo, and class dojo is very, elementary-like. So he's requesting something similar. And so upon our discussion, we did decide, before we make any purchases, we want to make sure that we want to look at our current systems to see what can they do, what is the ability that they are able to do, because what we don't want is to purchase various systems and when we house one system. So that's something that we're looking into further. Additionally, we also talked about a data warehouse, a warehouse where we can look at data And so right now we have, for example, access data, which is an assessment that ELL students take. So sometimes if principals are looking to look at how particular students are doing, they have to look at different, places to look at how students are doing. So we're looking into one complete system, one complete link house where we house, everything about how common assessments, state assessments, language assessments. So we're gonna take this year to really take a look, so we could take a look at what benefits Harvey, as well as doing the cost analysis. And having a nice data warehouse will help our PLCs, as they're having conversations about how students are doing. We also reviewed the curriculum cycle, and right now we are looking into developing curriculum for music as well as PE 6-8. So we do plan on working towards that this year. And so our hope is that we are able to kind of standardize what our cycle is, so that we're constantly making revisions and doing what we need, so that we can kind of look at our fidelity checks and looking at our pacing and curriculum guides. Most importantly, we did review the school improvement plans. Dr. Davis did review with the committee what the middle school school improvement plan looked like, and as well as Ms. Delgado discussed the elementary. And we did identify some commonalities amongst all the schools, and 5 of which, 1, unpacking the standards and need of teachers to really understand the standards. 2, more professional development on small group instruction. 3, differentiation. How can teachers provide that instructional support, when there's varying levels of needs. Classroom assessments, making sure that we're standardizing assessments throughout the district. And 5, climate and culture. We know that things cannot be done if we have good, climate and culture in the building. So those are the 5 areas that we identified that all the buildings have in common. And so today, we do ask for your approval to approve all of the school improvement plans. And that is, it concludes the committee.
So moved.
Second.
For the right word,
We have a first and a second, call it over.
Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Mr. Jerez. Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Rogers. Motion carried. President Gardner.
Motion carried.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay. There's no DTAC report.
Here's an action.
Okay, you wanna do the action item now?
So the action item for today is that the curriculum committee recommends Harvey Public School District 152 for the Board of Education to approve the 2024-2025 school improvement.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Rogers. Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
Mr. Jerez.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay, thank you. Our next is our finance report.
Our board members still reading their committee reports?
Yes, if you would like to read your report. Ms. Nesbit,
I'm asking the chair. She was-
you're asking Ms. Rogers, would she like to? read?
No, she's not on that committee.
No, that's your report,
I was
finance.
asking the chair if she wants. You want to read it?
No,
Okay.
I was at the meeting.
Okay, Finance Committee meeting minutes. The committee met on October 7th, 2024 at 4:30 p.m. Called to order at 4:32 p.m. Present with myself, Ms. Nichols, Dr. Lawrence, Yadira Garcia, Oscar Herrera, Alfred Daniels, Jasmine Augustus, Kathy Tinsler. Food service updates. Jasmine Augustus and Kathy Tintler shared information on Whitson's Culinary Group acquisition of Arbor Management. Whitson's is a family-owned food management company started in 1979 by Elmer Whitcomb and is still operated by the Whitcomb family today. Moving forward, Arbor will be part of the Whitson's family of companies focusing on a mission of enhancing life one meal at a time. The new partnership will extend more cost-efficient programs and additional resources for the district. There will be no contract changes with this change. Menu items will continue to be enhanced. Students are now receiving hot breakfast, 5 lunches for middle school students, and 2 lunch options for pre-K through 5th students. Item B, fiscal year 23 audited fund balance. The completion of the fiscal year 23 audit resulted in the fund balances changing after the budget was approved. The changed amounts are highlighted in green, and the amount reported on the budget are highlighted in blue in the attached documents. The overall adjustment resulted in a $398,195.41 increase. Item C, fiscal year 24 grant expenditures. The fiscal year 24 grant expenditures were shared based on the most recent expenditure report submitted on 8/31/24. The amounts highlighted in red reflect funds that will be returned to SB. This amount totals $43,499.10. The remaining unspent funds will roll over to the fiscal year 25 budget. Item D, student activity report. The report which was shared, which reflected no activity for September. Item E, Alltown Students Transportation Agreement. Ms. Nichols reviewed the current contract with the committee. The contract expires at the end of the school year. The district has the option to extend the contract or bid for a new transportation service. She shared concerns about the current rate, which reflects the district being charged for 2 routes on all 12 regular buses. However, only 3 buses are actually running 2 routes. The remaining 9 buses should be billed at a lower rate. Alltown will not honor this concern for this school year because the contract has already been signed and board approved. If an agreement is not made to address this concern for next school year, recommendation is to go out for bid. Item 4, Thornton Township Trustees of Schools updates. Updates from the Thornton Township Treasurer's Office were shared. See attached, highlights included. Mark Sheehan's contract ending on 10/10/24. He is encouraging districts to remain with the office. Transferring to another treasurer requires mutual agreement. Districts will not have representation on their board. With the new board, districts now have the opportunity to mold the office into one that serves us well. He recommends that our time and energy be better spent with Thornton Township. Item G, facility usage request. Calumet City Thunderbolts requested to use the track and field at Brooks. Dates have passed. Business department will reach out to ask if this is something they would like to follow up on for next year. Item H, building and grounds report. Mr. Daniels' report is attached for buildings and grounds. The roof of the Brooks garage is damaged and needs to be replaced. Mr. Daniels presented pictures of the roof and 3 proposals that were submitted. The lowest estimate was from Donomus and Associates for a total of $22,335. This will be a recommendation action item from Ms. Nichols. Technology report. Mr. Herrera's report is attached for the technology department. Mr. Herrera presented the Federal Communication Commission's FCC Schools and Library Cybersecurity Pilot Program, which provides up to $2 million in universal service funds to eligible schools to defray the cost of eligible cybersecurity services and equipment. This is a 3-year pilot program aiming to address cybersecurity threats. USAC will administer this with oversight from the FCC using the same processes used by the E-rate program, including competitive bidding, requests for eligible service and equipment, and a reimbursement process. Client First Technology Consulting will assist our district with the filing process of the Phase 1 application. If selected, they will also help us with filing Form 470 to request services and Form 471 to apply for funding. This is an action item to be recommended by Ms. Nichols. The meeting adjourned at 5:39 p.m. I move that we accept the Finance Committee meeting minutes as presented.
Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Call the roll.
I'm sorry, who was the first and who was the second?
Ms. Rogers? And
Mr. Whittington?
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit?
Aye.
Ms. Contreras?
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins? Ms. Cameron?
Aye.
Ms. Rogers? Ms. Bernard? Motion carried.
I'm watching.
Thank you.
At this time, Ms. Nichols.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Nesbit. There are 2 action items from the Finance Committee. The first item, the committee recommends Harvey School District 152, Board of Education to approve the hire of Dunamis and Associates in the amount of $22,335 for the Brooks Garage roof repair.
So move.
Second.
Call the roll.
Mr. Whittington?
Aye.
Ms. Rogers? Ms. Nesbit? Ms. Cameron? Ms. Hawkins? Ms. Contreras?
Aye.
President Gardner?
Aye. Motion carried.
Item 2, the Finance Committee recommends approval of the contract with Client First not to exceed the amount of $8,200 for the cyber security pilot program.
So move. Second.
Call the
Question, that money comes from the grant money that we're gonna be writing, is that district money?
That's district money.
Okay. Call the roll.
Ms. Contreras?
Aye.
Ms. Cameron?
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins? Ms. Rogers? Ms. Nesbit?
Aye.
Mr. Whittington?
Aye.
President Gardner?
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, at this time, we will do personnel.
Personnel chairperson, I guess I'll have to read this but I will summarize it. Personnel committee meeting was held on Monday, October 7th, 2024. The meeting was held on order 3:31. Present was myself, Joseph Whittington, Dr. Lawrence, Dr. Dana Nichols, and Selena Thomas. There was no retirements at that time, resignations, appointments, no leave requests. And job descriptions were recommended, and the committee reviewed the FSLA status recommendation from the attorney for district staff employees. It's enclosed for your information. Staff reassignments, the committee was made aware that there will be some staff involved, a movement, closing of sections based on enrollment, and this is done every school year. This is not the first year. The committee also inquired about who should be doing truancy for the district. We did not get an answer, so we're looking for who's gonna be doing truancy for the district for the kids that are out of school. Her approval of overtime to be included in the board policy. We're going to pre-approval for overtime. It will be included in board policy, which we'll be having a meeting next month. Also include that overtime procedure will be drafted to present to the committee for consideration next month with the approval of the attorney and the district employees. There was no action items.
Can I get a motion?
So moved. Second.
Who's the first? I'm sorry. Who's the first? Ms. Cameron?
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit?
She did a good job summarizing. Aye.
Ms. Hawkins? Ms. Contreras? Mr. Whittington?
Aye.
Ms. Rogers? President Gardner?
Aye. Motion carried.
Okay, policy report,
No report, no meeting.
ISB report.
Well, there seems to be a pretty big IASD report here. Illinois Association of School Boards will be meeting downtown Chicago, the 22nd, 23rd, is it Nicole, and 24th? November,
1st through the 24th, yes.
that's correct. And there will be a resolution committee report. As we have not done in the past, but we did do last year to be in compliance with Illinois Association of School Boards. I sent out some information previously concerning IASB, and there's 9 resolutions that should be voted on. We passed it out to you guys, we mailed it out to you guys. So tonight, the resolution committee is making some recommendations from downtown, and we're asking that the board vote. If you have one that you want to redact from that or take out, then you can, or if you want to vote to accept the resolution committee's report and give me the marching orders as the delegate for downtown Chicago on that Saturday to vote for whatever the committee's recommending. I'd like to get, as a motion to approve these resolutions that's in your packet now. And it's been sent out twice.
Okay, can I get a
If there's
motion?
anything that we need anyone wants to take anything out. So you go along with the recommendation of the resolution committee report for Cook County, for South Cook, and Cook County.
Is that what you recommended? I looked at it. I haven't
For
seen
the
it.
motion,
So moved.
Second.
yeah, I'll be voting with those.
Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Contreras. Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Rogers.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Please take a look at those, because some of those will affect board members when they make some decisions downtown Chicago. Thank you.
We've moved back to utilizing our electronic board book. So as far as having hard copies, some of us are used to computer, we don't have that hard copy agenda in for us, so that's the reason for some of the conversation. I do know that we went through the personnel item, and also I know policy will come to me. Per the minutes of the personnel committee, as stated, there were no action items at the end of that October 7th meeting. And what I want to recommend to the board is after the fact. So that's October 7th, and we're now into a board meeting today. We had several items that came afterwards. And so this is something that the board would have to share and recommend for approval due to timeliness. With respect to an action item,
I would ask that we discuss this in executive session, because it's on here and it's put down that we discussed it at that meeting and we did not. And I'm not going to say I discussed something that I did not, so the board needs to be able to talk about that in executive session. Adding one to agendas after the fact.
and actually this is not added to the minutes. Again, in the document that we're using here in board book, the action items that were added
I'd
as you
like to
see,
discuss it in executive session.
that's fine.
Okay. We're going to take that. Okay, we're going to back up. Okay, policy report.
We've done all of that. No. Done the time.
Actually, there were action items for policy.
It's an action
Press
item,
policy
press
too.
policy.
Rereading press policy.
Oh, that was second reading.
The second reading.
Second reading.
Correct.
So again, with policy, we have the second reading and approval of press policy issue 115. Those items were in your document. And one portion to make note, which is in your document, was item 2:70E, which is the checklist for filing board vacancies by appointment, as well as 2:160E, the checklist for selecting a board attorney. These were items that were listed in board policy 115, which had minor, if any, updates. Minor updates were made to the press sample in response to a 5-year review. And so we know that this, again, is information with the checklists that are used. And so with respect to that, again, the policy committee is going to recommend that Harvey School District 152 Board of Education to approve the second reading of press policy issue 115 as presented with those two exhibit items shared.
So moved.
Second. Call the roll.
Ms. Contreras.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Rogers. Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carried.
And the second action item to that is that now the policy committee recommends Harvey School District 152 Board of Education to approve press plus 115 as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Call the roll.
Ms. Rogers. Mr. Whittington.
Aye.
Ms. Cameron.
Aye.
Ms. Hawkins.
Aye.
Ms. Nesbit.
Aye.
Ms. Contreras.
Aye.
President Gardner.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Next, we have the parent advisory. I see her walking in the
Good
door.
evening, everyone. Good evening, everybody. So I just wanted to announce that the district newsletter will be hitting the press by the middle of this week. So I thank all the principals and everyone who gave us information for that newsletter. It's going to be pretty lengthy, but it's good information about what we're doing here at Harvey 152. Also, I want to send a special thank you and kudos, I don't know if they'll even see this, to VeriQuest. They donated 20 air purifiers to our school, so we were able to send 2 air purifiers, a 1,500 square foot air purifier and a 500 square foot air purifier to each school. So principals or anybody that is interested can ask the principals, but they were sent over last week, so we want to thank their request. That's our poster maker. We always call them for everything, so we want to appreciate your request for doing that donation, as well as True Grain send us a donation for $1,000 for Christmas. So they said whatever we need for Christmas, he just needed to get his boss to sign off on it now. So we want to thank everybody that still donates to us and does amazing things for Harvey Windfall too. Thank you all for your attention.
All right, thank you. Next, we have our foundation report.
Yes, good evening, everyone. I don't have a report, but I do have two special dates that I would like to mention, and that's our mini grant application. The deadline is Friday, October 25th, and the Educational Foundation Gala, which is Saturday, November 2nd, and that's our 9th annual celebration. And for those that's interested in attending, you can see Miss Nicole Wright. And that's the end of my report.
Okay, next for your information, items A through F, which is enrollment, vacancy report, echo report, annual construction report, board polls results, and fall requests. We have none. Next, we have any comments or anything from the audience at this time. You have 3 minutes.
I just want to say, I'm Bonnie Rattery from School District 147. It's just a pleasure to visit my friends and listen to somebody else's board meeting for a change. And I do want to say to you, it's going to be my pleasure when you go into executive session to do what people do to us. I will leave when y'all go into executive session. I will leave when you go into executive session. That's the pleasure that I have that I don't have in my school district when you call executive sessions. But I enjoyed your presentation. It was interesting, the guy that was talking about the food program. It's interesting, and all of you pretty much have my phone number if you have any questions for me, but I'll be following up and, seeing what I can find out. But I just really enjoyed being here. It's a nice meeting, peaceful. And again, when your auditor was reporting, I was feeling the same thing that you do regarding the township treasurer, but I'm glad that things are changing and we all have representatives now on that board, and I think that's going to be better for all of us.
All right.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Franny. Okay,
How you doing? My name is Tisha Jones. My son, Cashmere Williams, he attends Bryant Elementary. He is an autistic child.
okay, but one moment. Does this have to do with personnel that, because if you're fin to talk about something that happened, it may be personal, and we may have to discuss it in closed session. We may not be able to do it out here on the floor.
What do you mean personal? Because
Attorney, would you,
Is this strictly about your child, or is,
strictly about my child.
well, if she wants to talk about her child, she can.
okay, come on.
I was just concerned about, we did an IEP for him, and I was told that he'll get an aid. And his teacher is in a desperate need for this aid, and every day I'm asking, and I'm trying to figure out where's the aid. She said she has 17 students, and it's just her, because all he do is roam around the class. So I'm trying to figure out where's the help coming in at for her.
Okay, what school are you at?
Bryant.
Bryant?
Yes,
Yeah,
Did you talk to the principal?
I did.
and,
Did you get an answer?
No,
Have you talked to Superintendent Lawrence? Are you aware of this?
I've never met him.
Okay.
This information.
So I would say probably that. Yeah.
Okay, I've never met him, and his name has never been mentioned to me neither.
Well, I'm Dr. Lawrence, the superintendent of the school district. So what I would say is, since you've had a chance to speak with the principal, I'd ask that you can share your name information with Ms. Wright, and we can schedule a meeting to hear more of your concerns and try and support you and your child.
Okay, no problem. So, okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
And we didn't want to cut you off,
No,
but
it's
there's certain things that we cannot talk about out here on the
It's,
floor.
oh, it's funny.
All right, thank you.
You're not leaving, are you?
No, I'm going to sit.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Ms. Jones.
Ms. Turner, you see how she told us she liked our meetings? She never tell us that as a board member.
Okay, at this time, any other questions from the floor? If there be no other questions, we're gonna prepare to go into closed session for the appointment, employment, compensation hearing, discipline, performance or dismissal of a specific employee of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the public body to determine its validity.
So moved. Second.
All right.
Mr. Williamson? Ms. Nesbitt?
Aye.
Ms. Cameron? Ms. Rogers? Ms. Rogers?
Aye.